I don't know.
I think we're just about live. Okay, we're live. Hey guys, it is Nicole here, and we are on episode 19 of Stay Wild Child. And I have a friend with me today who I'm excited for you guys to meet this woman. Her name's Brooklyn, and we met at a networking group. And it was interesting. I think in that networking group, I want to say like I won something, so I was able to pick who I got to have my face-to-face with. And I loved your energy so much that I was like, oh, I want it to be Brooklyn Calloway. And so we did. It took us, I think, a little bit to connect because I know you wear a lot of different hats. And so it took us a little bit to connect. And once we finally did, we got along just as well as I thought we would. We lived near each other. We were both in Frisco, Texas. And I just wanted some of that good energy that you have. So welcome to the show. Thank you, Brooklyn.
Thank you for having me. I felt the same way about you. You were kind of quiet that night though, because I think that you were a guest of someone else. And yes. I remember them coming to you and saying, would you like to speak? You're like, no, I want to observe. And I was like, ooh, mysterious. I like her.
Yeah, I was a guest, and yeah, you're right. I was being a little bit quiet that night. I was, kind of probably in my head a little bit like, so last week, Sam Didka was my guest on Stay Wild Child, and she said she's a Jane of all trades. And so I'm like, oh, that describes my life. So that was probably what was going on. Which one am I going to talk about at this networking event, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, okay. So talk a little bit here. So my group, Stay Wild Child, it's all about empowering women. It's about helping women remember who they are before the world told them who they were supposed to be. Mm-hmm. I think often we get kind of stuck in this story, right? Like, what does it take to be a good Frisco mom? What does it take to be, the right kind of spouse? What does it take to be, the right kind of woman in your community? And so that like it's this imaging that's put out via magazine, via social media, via talk shows and those types of things about, what it's like to be, the right kind of woman. And so we can kind of get trapped and stuck in those stories and those grooves. And so I love women who really kind of, they defy that, right? They're like, okay, who am I? And what inspires me? And how can I step into my power? And so those are the women who I like to have on this show because it really helps allow women to step into their own power. So I love your story. Will you give us just like a little bit of a background of where you were before? And we'll talk about all the little Janes of all trades that you do and some of the classes that I've taken of yours, but help me go back to where you were before. Give me that beginning piece of your story.
Yeah. So, wow. It's a lot, but I'm excited to sit down.
It was a lot.
Okay. I'm thank you so much.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So in the beginning, I was a school teacher and I taught middle school English, and I discovered after 2 years of maternity leave that my paycheck was teeny tiny and that I could pretty much do anything. I could sell poop emojis and replace my salary as a teacher. So April 1st, just had my 7-year anniversary of 2013. I marched down to Dennis McDonald's office and I resigned. And of course, I waited out the year and everything. And I started refinishing furniture in my garage. Then I realized that it was just too hot in Texas and I don't want to work that hard. So I started teaching other people how to do it. And my teaching background really came to the surface then. I was teaching again because I've always been called to do that. But I was using teaching as a way to scale my business. Well, after a very short while, I had to get really good at marketing because nobody ever came back again. And over again, I would have these workshops with people dragging their furniture or taking their cabinet doors off their cabinets and bringing them in. I would teach them how to do that. So I decided that I needed a canvas on which to teach the same skills, but was kind of incorporated into the design of whatever the hell it was so that people would come back again and again. And so I drew on like a little piece of notebook paper, a banner because I saw one on Pinterest. I was like, I can make that out of wood. I can layer it and distress it and antique it and, wax it and all those things. And so after having 4 of that same banner class fill up in 1 month, I was like, I am on to something. But I didn't realize just how big what I was doing was going to become. And it wasn't about the 8 to 12 women that was taking that class. It was about the chalk paint retailers across the country that were watching what I was doing. And they started reaching out to me and saying, hey, I'm not your competitor. I'm in Jersey, but I can't figure out where you're getting your kits. So I was like, I am not telling you my secrets until I slept on it. And God was like slapping me in the head and saying, you idiot, wake up. This is your chance. So that year, I like to say I became a 100,000-aire. And my husband was like, oh my God, I can't even believe what? Make more kits. And I was like, I'm typing. I mean, it was like shooting fish in a barrel because every website was like, find a retailer near you. Here's their email address, their phone number, and their address. So I was sending kits to every place in America and saying, look, this is what I do. Here's my how-to video. I didn't know my ass from apple butter when it came to YouTube video, how to anything. It was all horrible. But I figured out a way because I didn't have time but to do it, figure it out. And all of that imploded. And it was pretty much the worst 3 months of my life. But after everyone got their kits, the problem was no one was showing up to their workshops. So I had these newbie entrepreneurs that were wanting to scale and saw that I was doing it, but they were missing the key ingredient, and that's how to market their business online and fill their events.
Oh.
So I created my first, what is now my #1 or whatever teaching e-course. And it was just basically teaching women how to take a day's worth of planning and create a month's worth of posts, because none of them had time. They all had kids. They all had other jobs. They were teachers. They didn't know what they were doing as far as marketing. And quite frankly, I didn't either. I just figured it out. But then I had to go back and write that down. So eventually the kit started to go down and the word got out, and I started teaching realtors, and I was speaking at chambers of commerce and municipalities and large direct selling groups and at the Pinners Conference. And it just became this path that I never in a freaking million years would have anticipated, but it has baptized me by fire. And I have had no choice but to hold on and white knuckle it for the last 7 years. And I'm still holding on.
What's the name of that course?
It's called A Day's Worth of Planning Equals a Month's Worth of Posts. I've repackaged it and added different things for face-to-face classes. I think you took how to stand out in the crowded social media circus. And it's teaching you how to stand out through consistent posting. And now I've added what to post and how to be your authentic self online.
Absolutely. It was such a good course that, I feel like, I've grown a successful direct sales business. And so, and I've done the majority of that through social media.
Yep.
And I feel like, pretty good at it, right? Like, I got a handle on it. I know how to talk to people, that kind of thing. But when I took your course, especially for my page, you got me more consistent on Instagram, and the planning tool was so fantastic for me. And I won't say that I'm always consistent at it. That's probably, but when I do it, I can see it, right? I can see the way that it really flows once I'm really consistent at it. And so it was a beautiful course that you've created. And what a way to turn something that, you just kind of kept following, right? Did you just like follow those little seeds?
The little breadcrumbs. Yeah.
Yeah, little breadcrumbs.
I think I'm just so grateful that I was I don't want to say flaky or flighty, but I think I've noticed, what makes me different from the other people around me typically is my willingness to let go of what's not working and monkey bar to the thing that is, or at least try to go towards something that is better than what I have. And so it's been a journey, and I'm constantly giving my business an oil change and like getting it back on the road. Oh, wait, we're getting in the ditch,
Yeah.
time to get over here. And it's that constant reassessing and that constant, I don't have fear of trying something new. Now I
Yes.
have block of the learning curve. Like I hate the learning curve, but I don't mind trying something new. But I need to know it all and really well within about 4 seconds, or I get really pissed and my Cajun hangs out. I'm like, don't talk to me.
So it's almost like you've let go of the perceived outcome of what you thought it would be, and you pivot, right? You monkey bar it over to the idea that seems to be catching a little fire and a little bit of traction.
Yes. Success is not always what you think it's going to be. That's something
100%.
that I embrace. And when I'm teaching other people how to grow their workshop business, the very first thing that I tell everyone is your first workshop is not successful. Making money is not your ultimate goal. It's having smiling faces, taking a workshop so we can take pictures to market your next one. So I tell everyone, if you get a sign up, freaking that is amazing. If you get 3, I will be shocked. Pad your workshop with people, smiling friends that will tell you the truth and give you honest feedback, and they will pose and act like they're just having the best time ever, no matter what, so that you can get those pictures, because people will not do something if they don't think someone else has done it first.
All right.
Most people don't blaze their own path of glory here. They're all like minnows, a school full of minnows, right? And that's the majority of people. Not many people like to blaze their own path or try something new. That's very,
Right.
very rare. That's a small portion of people's audience.
Good advice. I like that. That's really good advice. Okay, so we were talking just a little bit before we jumped on live, and we were speaking about, kind of how you're pivoting, right? Your business is changing.
Yes.
And because, you do a lot of in-person events and activities. And so before we go into that, talk just a little bit about your cute little space, Brooklyn Bungalow, because I know that's it'll definitely thrive, once we are able to be together again. But yeah, so talk a little bit about your bungalow, and then we'll move into how you've pivoted.
Okay, yeah. So Brooklyn's Bungalow is a 105-year-old house, historical house, made by A.A. Malone and Mariah Malone. She was the seamstress for the community, and they had 6 kids. But
Wow.
It's a beautiful wraparound porch, very women-centric, hand-painted peonies on all the risers of the stairs. It's just adorable. And what it is originally I got it to teach my workshops because I was promoting kits, right? So I had to have a workshop using that kit so I could promote. I could take those pictures, give them to my retailers of the kits, and they could say, oh, come take this workshop. And it looks like someone's taken it before.
Right.
Not necessarily from them, but anyway, so that's what it was for. The back studio, I put a shiplap wall in for the background of my YouTube videos. And somewhere along the way, I stopped doing the workshop kits, and I just started renting it out to other people to teach their workshops. Mm-hmm. And over the past year and a half, 2 of the main rooms have become natural light photography studios, including that one with the original white shiplap wall. Yes. And then the great room is a few vignettes for photography during the day, but it's also rented out by direct sales teams, mortgage companies for classes, and maker space for people who are teaching wreaths and wreath making and calligraphy and all that kind of stuff. I have tons of people that rent it for ugly sweater parties, customer appreciation photography workshops. Right. It is very, very versatile. And that's why we were saying, before we hopped on here, that I have so many avatars, so many who is your audience, your ideal audience? Well, they're photographer, if they're breathing, then they're my avatar for the venue.
Right.
So it's hard because I don't have the arm strength to cast that net. That is a wide net. It's just like I can't throw that far. So I really struggle in knowing who I'm talking to when I'm marketing it and not sounding like I have an identity crisis online. But it's amazing. It is a really neat bungalow, and I just say that I'm building community with my community building. So if you're in my community, then you just come on over, toss your keys on the counter, yell at Alexa and say, play Adele, and start decorating for whatever the hell you're going to do. And it's just like your house. It's I want it to be your home away from home, for real.
It's such a cute space. I love what you've done to it. It's incredibly inviting. And that social media workshop that I took, that was there. And yeah, I can't wait to come to one of your bingos and whenever we're all able to get back together. So, since that is a community space and we're social distancing at the moment and can't gather in groups and that type of thing, I've been going through the same thing with my business, and a lot of it, a lot of my stuff is virtual, but I definitely do some, togetherness pieces. And so it's, things have kind of changed, and, there's a lot of uncertainty and a lot of things that are, not real sure exactly what direction completely the country's going to go in. And I know you're an entrepreneur and I'm an entrepreneur. And so it's, how are we going to keep, money coming into our family and our house and all that kind of thing. So when we talk about, you mentioned the word pivot. And so tell me just a little bit about that course and what's coming up and how you've pivoted.
Yeah. Okay. So it's kind of weird. We were talking about this too, but my word of the year was pivot. And I'm not one of those, Marie Kondoing the closets and the having a word of the year and, vision boards. I've done a little bit of that, but I'm just like, I don't think about things. I just, just let me go, let me do it. And so this year, I had a word and it just kept coming up. Like last year, it was the word April. I know that sounds weird. It's a whole nother story. Got to tell you that in a blog post or something. But last year was April. This year, the word is pivot. And I'm just like, okay, I'm going to go with that. Well, I was trying to really think about like, okay, why is this word my word? Why does it keep coming up in my life? And I wrote down on a notebook, and I don't have it with me. It's in my studio out there, but it said that pivot stood for people in very odd times. And I came up with that in early January. And I was reading back through my notes and I thought, and at the time I was like, that does not fit with what I want to go with pivot. I mean, what the hell does that mean, right? But I decided I was going to have a pivot conference in October, on October 2nd. It's already reserved at the Lincoln Experience Center, but that's about as far as I've gotten. And that the conference was going to be pivot, and it's pivot towards your passion. And the people in very odd times part was just me horsing around, farting around, trying to figure out what this stood for. Because I was like, that's got to stand for something.
Sure.
Well, I created an e-course because I was looking at my notes and I was trying to figure out how I could scaffold and help young or new entrepreneurs and all the people in my community of, Brickylands Bungalow, help them because it wasn't feeling natural for them to post online. And I wanted to really support them and give them actual tangible little wins and big wins that they could take away and use on their Facebook page so that they could get to posting, but knowing how to post and what to say in these odd times. So I called it Posting in Very Odd Times, and it's called Pivot. And the O is a little coronavirus, which, by the way, you said this is episode 19 and COVID-19. I just feel like that's not a coincidence. Right. But anyways, so Pivot is Posting in Very Odd Times. That course will be up today. And I'll give you a code to give to your followers. I haven't
Yes.
yet.
Yeah.
It's $11. The course is going to be $11, and I'll give you half off, so that y'all can download it for $5. But I just want someone to be able to use it and to pay for the platform that I had to buy to be able to record it.
Sure. Yeah, I think it's, I mean, when you said that, when we were first chatting, just right before this, I thought, God, what a brilliant message. So tell me how that process goes for you, because you said you asked yourself the question, what does pivot stand for? And then you really broke the word down. How does that journaling process? Is it during a quiet time? Do you do a meditation, a prayer? What's your process to get into that?
Well, it's funny that you say that, because in the past, not, January year, but just for the past maybe 8 months, I've
Uh-huh.
been getting up earlier than everyone else, like I always do. But instead of grabbing my coffee and going and turning on the news or watching, Outlander recorded from last night or whatever,
Right.
I sit down right here and in this chair, and I read my Bible. And I just open it up. I sometimes have a devotional that I've downloaded or something, because I've since gotten like tech savvy with that. But I didn't really know what I was doing. And a little funny side note and story there. I was praying one morning and I said, God, please guide me and help me know what information I need to learn in order to execute this pivot conference. And I specifically asked for that. And so I opened the Bible and I just turned to the last page. It was like the last 3 little thin pages, right? And there was a chart, and it was all about conversions for common measurements used in the Bible. Like, I don't think hill of beans is one of them, but it was saying like, this is how long this is. And this is, that's about 9 inches. And there was one particular one that I had heard in like an idiom in English language, who I've heard all my life. I'm
Right.
like, I thought that was longer than that, or something. So here I am looking at a math chart. And if you know me, I took college algebra 3 times and I cried through all 3 times. I
Right.
barely graduated college because of that class. Numbers make me cry, cringe, cry, anxiety, whatever you call it. So the fact that I was sitting here looking at a number chart, I was just trusting, okay, God, this is what you want me to look at. And then I turned to the next page and it said, read the Bible in a year. I went to February 17th, which was that was the day.
Mm-hmm.
And I turned to Numbers. And that was the chapter I was supposed to read, was in the book of Numbers.
Okay.
And it makes me start cheering up, because I went, it's weird that it's called Numbers. And I was literally just led to read a chart about freaking numbers. And so I read it, and it was all about the tabernacle and building the altar and all these things. I've never read this. I'm not a Bible reader. This is all brand new to me, but I'm just trusting the process. And so I had just asked that God would guide me to the exact information that I needed. Nothing more, nothing less, because I learning curves. I'm not a big fan of those. So that I could understand what it was I needed to know to move forward in the pivot, with this pivot conference and everything.
Right.
And here it was showing me exactly, I led you to the number chart at the back of the Bible. Then I led you to the chapter of Numbers, and you understood every damn word of it because you had learned this first. And so it was his, like, I got you. I heard you. I'm funny. And I use numbers, I'm going to make you come hell or high water, like, learn what you got to learn. So I just listen. That's a long story, very short answer, but I listen, and I have faith that I don't need to know how to throw the dart. I just have to be the dart, and he will hit the bullseye every single time.
Very, very good. And so I love that. I love that you're listening, and that you're giving yourself the time and the space to listen. And it sounds like, if that was February 17th, that was before a lot of this transpired.
Yeah, before any of this,
Right.
this was happening.
Right. Okay. So it was before all of that. And so now, when you're, I guess you did some journaling then after you read the chapter.
Um, you mean when I wrote down pivot, people in very odd times? No,
Yes.
that was back in January when I kept hearing the word pivot. Uh,
Ah, okay.
and when I kept hearing the word pivot or just feeling it, or it's like, that's a good word. I'm pivoting, and everyone else I want to pivot. There's no better way to march forward, and to move on to the next thing, and unless you burn the bridge behind you. And I say that in a good way. Don't, make
Of
enemies,
course.
but just don't make it an option, right? Just keep going
Right.
forward. And so pivot, I was like, I'm just going forward. And I'm like, what could this stand for? And I had a couple of friends in my studio with me that I brought on board to be, possible speakers or help me, organize it. And we were just playing around, and that's what I wrote down when we were trying to figure out what pivot stood for.
Okay.
And I was looking back through notes, which who has time to do that, right? But I was doing it, and I was like, oh, that's weird. That was just a couple days ago that I was reading through notes in a notebook from all that time ago.
I'm so glad that you've actually just mentioned this, because I had this epiphany. I did a meditation with a group last week. I think it was Thursday. And after I did that group meditation, I stopped and I took a few notes. And one of my notes was, you have all the information, go back and look through your journals. Because I'm a note taker myself.
Uh-huh.
And so, yeah, I've been creating some online courses and some workshops. And I thought, I've already got all the information. It's all there in notes. I've been taking notes for 10 years on this self-development, self-love, life visioning, moving forward in your purpose, standing in your power. The list goes on and on about, how long I've been taking notes and asking myself questions. And so, I've found myself maybe a little stalled out,
Mm-hmm.
because of kind of what's been going on. I haven't been taking quite as much action. But after that meditation, it was go back and look through your notes. And so, yeah, it's a perfect reminder, right? This is
Yeah.
the time you have this time and you can utilize it as such a gift. And what a perfect opportunity, especially for those who might be really impacted by this social distancing, to check in and get still and ask yourself some questions. And whether it's through prayer or meditation or reading your Bible, getting up just that little bit early and really checking in. Gosh,
Yes.
we have all the answers.
We have all of them. And it's funny, there's something back when I was a teacher, I was going through something called a Super Saturday. It's where we were taught different things that were not super, and it did not feel like a Saturday. But
Right.
we were learning, and we were learning about AHA journals. And so I started implementing AHA journals into my GT English classes. And basically, the story that was told was there was this famous inventor, and this lady had gone to his house, and I forget who it was, but she was at this fancy dinner party, and I don't know what he invented, shoes or something great like that. But
Right.
he had asked her, he said, ask me any day in my past, any day for the last 30 years, and I'll tell you what I was thinking and doing on that day. And he, went through August of 1974 or whatever, pulled it out, and he said, oh, that was the day after my grandmother died, and I was flying home from blah, 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 or, whatever it was. And she was just taken aback by that. And basically, people don't sit down to invent. They don't invent or innovate based on, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to invent today. That's not how that happens. It happens through, happenstance and circumstance and recording your thoughts. And there are so many times that our kids say something crazy, or we have an idea, really good band name in the future if we're ever in a rock band,
Right.
write that shit down. And so
Yeah.
that's called an AHA journal. And I was watching something, I think Anderson Cooper was like on a Dateline or something like that, and he was interviewing Eminem.
Mm.
Eminem said that he called it stacking ammo. and Anderson Cooper was asking him, this is on a YouTube video, by the way, you can Google it. He was asking him, how do you come up with the lyrics and the lines? And he goes, I've come up with them for years, but no matter where I'm at or what I'm doing, whether it's a hotel or a coffee shop, I write it down on a napkin or a piece of paper or a notebook or a receipt, and I put it in my box. And he opened that box and he's reading, and he kind of, so you can't see this, like, don't look at this. He was like, that one's good. I'm saving that for later. Every time he came up with a lyric or an idea for a rhyme or a blend or whatever, he wrote it down. And so when he sat down to write, he pulled out his box and started going through notes. And he calls it stacking ammo. And I used to play that video, that clip off of YouTube. I don't know how I found it. I'm not a fan of those guys. Like, they're not my favorites, but it is spot on. Yes. With, teaching someone the enormity of writing down your thoughts and keeping an aha journal next to you, so that you can write down, it's the first thing when you wake up in the morning and you had a dream and I got to write that down, whatever it is, it's important, and then date it.
Yeah, absolutely. I've gotten really consistent at dating my entries. I didn't do that before, but I had Trisha on here, Peterson. I had her on here maybe, I don't know, a few weeks ago, and she talked about that she doesn't start her year in January. She starts her year whenever it feels right, maybe February, mid-February, but she takes that because it's kids are back to school, life is busy, you've just come off the holidays, and you need some time to kind of like decompress before that January, 1st, when everybody kicks off their resolutions. She needs some time. And so she started writing down in her journal and dating it, and she does her year in review before she begins the next year, and she reads through her journal. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's so brilliant. Because
I'm going to do it right now. I've never done a year in review.
Right. It's just such a beautiful concept, because, I was kind of encouraging my group to pick a word. And then I also hosted a workshop in January. And if I would have just paused a moment, I was following kind of that society belief, like jump on the bandwagon, And so if I would have just paused a moment, I think that it would have given everybody just a little bit more time to settle, right? Versus the society dictates as far as when that needs to transpire. So it definitely, that really impacted me. And so I've been, dating and writing things down, and especially during this time.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I have a fun little journal here too. I keep on my desk. I just got it at TJ Maxx, but it's a serendipity journal. And so anything that's like really just something that's kind of like a really incredible moment, for you, that God moment, that going to numbers and that you saw the chart before, that would be something that would go in this little serendipity journal. And so I keep that as well, just, real aha moments that have happened in my life. And I could probably put a lot more in there, but I thought, that's probably my biggest downfall, is I have so many journals. And like, I try to keep them all separate, but then I don't, and then they all just end up blending into one. So my organization skills are not quite where I'd like them to be, but hey.
Mine are not there. Matter of fact, if you look over here off camera, let me just show you. So I sit in this bay window because it's the best lighting. And so these right here are all spirals that literally are my kids' old spirals, but there's still paper left on them. So instead of throwing the darn thing away, I'm super frugal. I don't like to spend money. I'm like, I could use that. So my journals and spirals are just in stacks. And they're all random. And half of them have half the pages ripped out because they were third grade science or something.
That's so awesome. Okay, good.
My journals. I just use my kids' leftovers.
There is a mad creative genius in all of us if we just allow it to come out and we put it down on paper.
Yes, yes.
I like it. All right, so let's talk about, I know that you have an event coming up on Thursday.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about that.
Okay, so at the bungalow, the great room holds 25 people, and September 25th and October 25th, I had bingo there of 2018. We outgrew the space that quick, and I partnered with Dee Dee's Downtown where it all goes down.
Oh,
And yeah.
yeah.
So we have 75 people inside the restaurant, and if the weather's great, we have 110 on the patio.
Girl.
I know, it's great. We scaled very quickly, and it sells out every single month. Well, March, April, and May are now canceled, and they were sold out events for me. So I had a sweet neighbor who came by with her kids, and they were riding bikes and saying hi over the picket fence. And she said, "I had an idea for you. You need to take bingo online." I was like, "I don't think I can do that." She goes, "Brooklyn, you can do that. I promise you will figure it out." So I was like, well, hell. I took some Super Bees, some vitamins, and I was like, I'm going to figure this out. So Thursday night, virtual bingo. The same every single bingo night is the prizes are sponsored by local boutiques and restaurants and things like that, and people from the Polka Dot Powerhouse, the women and their businesses. And so I have these amazing $125 or more prizes to give away. I've got all these prizes. So $20 for virtual bingo. You do not have to be a tech wizard. All you have to do is be able to log into Facebook on your computer and play from your phone. So you do need two devices. You'll get a link to your cards, and it's one card, and then you click a button and it says generate card, and it literally is it's the card and that button. That's all that shows up. And so when you win or don't win and we start the next game, you click generate card, it goes blah, 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 and it gives you a new card.
Amazing.
You click it with your finger to make an X, and you click it again with your finger if you accidentally put an X where it's not supposed to go. So you can do that a million times, and the system will not whatever. So anyways, it's super easy. I'm going to call numbers live on Facebook from my kitchen. I'm going to have my margarita like I always do at Edie's, and we're going to cheers and toast to everyone. And I can imagine some Frisco mom or whoever, because now it's nationwide. I mean, anyone could be on it, sitting on their couch going, I'm set. And her husband like, really? What does that mean? And then she goes, bingo. And all the kids are like, what'd you win, Mom? Can I have it too? Let me see. You know, I could just see all that happening. And I wish I could be a fly on the wall, but we're going to do bingo virtually. I made it half the price. And I figured it out. So you can register through brickylandsbungalow.com. Just click bingo, and it's the top one on there, and it says virtual bingo. So you can't screw it up. So
okay. Well, I'll make sure that I get the link. I'll get you to instant message it over, and I'll copy and paste it in after this video is over so that people can join. But so was it an app? Was it a bingo app?
There was a couple of apps. They weren't all user friendly, and they were all had paid advertising all over them and stuff. So I finally figured out one that was good. I'm going to test it this afternoon with 6 of my friends, just so that I can, troubleshoot.
Sure.
For the most part, I think it's going to work. And
I think it's going to work too. It's a great idea. And the great thing about it is I have noticed, because I've done a lot of meditations virtually since this has, since we've been at stay at home. And I've done them over Zoom, just like this, or I've done them on Facebook Live. It's interesting. You can still feel that energy. And so, I mean, we're energy beings. And so when, that excitement of that bingo or that excitement of playing together, it's still going to be there. So it'll be exciting for everybody. I think it's a great way to lift people's spirits. And I'm glad that you decided to go ahead and go for it, because it's really a gift for people. They need to, especially, I'm especially thinking of the moms right now who are homeschooling their children,
Oh gosh, that is not a word that you're allowed to say.
Yeah.
That is a
Yeah,
bad word.
so like for me, yeah. So my son's 22. So yeah. So I'm glad because I would be like, oh my gosh, oh that'd be a challenge for me.
It's not,
So
not an easy thing. I have a 7 and a 9-year-old, and then of course a 19-year-old, and he's also in online school now because his whole semester went online,
yeah,
and you can't have anything else going on. Like,
right.
I can't try to do some work over here and facilitate learning in the dining room. That does not work, especially not with my youngest, Lincoln.
Yeah.
He'll be over there doing a handstand on the wall, literally during science. And I'm like, what are you doing? He goes, stretching.
Oh,
Why the hell do you need to stretch right now? Okay, get in the seat. Now sit down. That's all I say all day long. Sit down. Stop it. Look at this. Click on that. Why is it not working? Why is life not working?
reboot.
Yeah, I said God just went Control Alt Delete. That's what he did to life. Control Alt Delete. He coronavirus. That's what it is. He just Control Alt deleted on all of our lives, and I miss knowing what to do. I just miss knowing what to do every day. I don't know what to do every day. I'm constantly in a state of, what the hell should I do today?
Well, it sounds like you've really taken action during this time. I mean, you've created a pivot course that you're popping online, and then you're hosting bingo for a bunch of women who I mean, I don't know, maybe guys can play too, but they definitely need it right now. I mean, that's fun. I mean, it really is. The best advice that I can give people is allow yourself that space to have some fun and laugh and, and let go of whatever you're carrying on your shoulders. You've got to let go right now because, and we'll just take it step by step. And girl, it sounds like you're doing a badass job.
Hey, I don't know how, I don't know where it's coming. I'm just like pulling it out. I'm making it up as I go. You said lifting spirits, and the word spirit. Okay, I'm going to pivot just for a second.
Okay.
I have this friend that uses the bungalow to teach ghost hunting adventures. He has all this amateur ghost hunting equipment. Well, he's an amateur ghost hunter or novice. I don't even know. He's done it before. And he has all this equipment. And so people take his class at the bungalow because it's 105 years old. So it's kind of clutch, it's old. People probably died there or something.
Sure.
And he does these ghost hunts. Well, after this, I'm hopping on a call with him because I'm in the Downtown Merchants Association.
Yeah.
Rail District's merchants. And all the businesses are closed, and they're all 100, 120 years old. So I am going to do a ghost hunt tour with Steve, one building at a time. I don't know how often, but we're going to go live. And I am a total idiot. If I get scared, I will yelp and squeal and scream and run away. And Steve is my friend, but we're going to ghost hunt in hopefully the Heritage Table, the Style House, and Dee Dee's Downtown. Those are the first three.
Cool.
We might do it at the Mason's Lodge. I'm not sure. I'm going to try to see if they'll let us do that, but they're closed. So I'm less than 10 people. So let me in, right?
Yeah, that's a cool idea.
On Brookylands Bungalow. And we're just going to bring awareness to the rail district and have a little fun. So
yeah, I like that. I'd be scared too. I'd be. I'm super jumpy.
Yeah, I'm super jumpy, and I don't know how to square that circle, but it's fascinating to me. And at the same time, I want to give Steve a platform, but I want to raise awareness for my fellow merchants.
Yeah.
So I just thought it would be a really fun, what can it hurt kind of whatever.
Yeah. And, Amanda at the Style House, she's still letting people pick merchandise up from her porch. So, I got these cute little slides. Aren't they great?
Oh, those are so cute. I get my nails done there from Lisa. And
yeah.
I haven't gotten them done lately, obviously. But yes, they are. Lisa, I've been going to her for almost 4 years.
Wow.
And she says there are legit ghosts there. And so does Amanda Embry. and Ashley, who does my hair. They all confirmed that there is a ghost there. And there's one at Heritage Table too, a little girl, and she sits at the bottom of the stairs. And so I've heard all these ghost stories, so that's why I've picked those particular businesses.
Sure. Yeah. Ooh, I can't wait to watch it. I got chills.
I'm so excited. We're going to do it right now.
All right, love. Well, thank you for being on. I'm going to instant message you so I can get those links and people can join your pivot course and then also your virtual bingo. And thank you so much for joining me. I love your spirit. It's contagious, and I love the way that you take action and you really listen, and you just allow those ideas to flow. And it's almost like it's like, why not give it a shot? I mean, right? I mean, what the hell? I mean, if something screws up, then whatever. Next. Next. All right. Love your energy. Thanks for sharing it with us today.
Thank you. Have a great day. Bye.
You too, girl. Bye.